Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD1111 class for the fall 2020 semester at Rankin, I've been going through a series of video presentations based on the textbook we're going to use for the class. That textbook being Get Programming with Node.js by Jonathan Wexler, a Manning publication. I am up to Unit 3 of our text, and pretty quick we're going to get into Chapter 13 of 37. So as it says there, in the last unit we learned to use express.js. So now what we're going to do in this next unit here in Unit 3 is we're going to bring a database into the equation. Now the author says a database is where values can be stored permanently as opposed to the data in earlier lessons. And it's true. When you start talking about persistent data, typically you're talking about either saving data in files or in a database. So, in this book, as the author mentions, you'll learn to use MongoDB, a popular database for Node.js. We will download and install Mongo on the computer. We will explore the MongoDB shell, which is going to look a little bit at least like REPL for Node.js. We'll talk a little database theory, and then we'll see how basically the database fits into the model part of the model view controller architecture. Finally, we'll go in and we'll start talking about a database schema. So when you look in here, this consists of 4 different lessons. The first lesson in here, Lesson 13, introduces MongoDB, and as the author says, it's what's referred to as a NoSQL or not an SQL database. Lesson 14 shows us how to connect our Mongo database to an Express application, and we will be using Mongoose, the Mongoose package, which they call an ODM or an Object Document Mapper. Lesson 15 will discuss the different types of query commands you can use to basically extract or get information from a Mongo database. Finally, in Chapter 16, it's the capstone project, so we will add a database component to our Confetti Cuisine site. So, let's jump into Lesson 13, setting up a MongoDB database. Okay. Alright, and it says that basically we used Express to help a lot with the controller part, or starting to bring an MVC type of application, alright, into our Node.js application, but we didn't really do anything yet with models. And remember that with model view controller, the view is basically what you present to the end user. The controller is the conduit where when a request, an HTTP request, comes into the controller figures out typically which model to send it to, and it could be several controllers as well, but the right controller hopefully will send it to the right model to do its thing, to send that information back to the controller so that it can send its information out to the correct view. Well, in this lesson, as it says, we'll install MongoDB, the database system that we're going to use in this book. We'll talk about what makes a document database as opposed to, for example, a relational database. So we have 3 different objectives in here, as you can see: installing MongoDB, reading and entering data within the MongoDB shell, and connecting MongoDB to a Node application. With Node.js, it is possible, as it says, to work with any database. So we could use MySQL, but we're not. We're using what the author mentions. Now, with MongoDB, as mentioned here on the top of page 136, in this blue that you see on the top, offers a unique style of data storage that resembles JSON. Alright, which is one of the reasons it's kind of nice to use this with Node. with Node.js. So setting up MongoDB. All right. As they mentioned there, the data in every application we build up until this point has not persisted. So every time we shut down the application and restarted it, all of the data that we had used thus far is gone. But a database, as mentioned previously, is one way that you can have data persist. So the author says a database is an organization of data designed for easy access and efficient changes made by the application. Okay, I have no problem with that definition whatsoever. Like a web server, the application connects to the MongoDB database and requests data. Throughout this unit, the author says he will discuss how to save information to a database for long-term storage. The data persists even after you shut down the application and bring it back up again. Now, unlike what we worked with last semester in the C# class, MongoDB, as mentioned here, is an open source database program. It organizes data by using what are called documents. All right. So documents store data in a JSON-like structure. This is what you're going to see. All right. These documents in many ways will resemble tables that we talked about in a relational database schema. They are not at all the same, though. Now they go back and they look again, for lack of better words, at relational databases, and they talk about what's different between the two. So we've worked with relational databases before. You saw this. You've got a couple tables. The tables as of right now have no field in common. All right. This is a people table ID. This is a course table ID. So number 1 here is for John Wexler. Number 1 here is for Wheaties Bread. All right. But if we take the ID from here and the ID from here and we map them up, so to speak, all right, this would be what's referred to as a join table that we would use, where we have the primary keys from both of our other tables together. Now we're able to join and get information. So if somebody wants to know, all right, who is enrolled, for example, in this course, okay, you can tell by combining the information from the two tables. That's really all I want to say. You know, the author says we could use relational databases, but we're not. So we're going to install MongoDB as it says and look at some data. The install process is a bit different for Windows and Mac. Fine. We, again, don't care about how to do it on a Mac. So I'm jumping here where they talk about how to do this for Windows, which is on page 139. And the author says, for Windows, go to https://www.mongodb.com/download center community of your browser. So let's click on that. I will allow that. Okay. So that was the first step. Next, download the MongoDB for Windows MSI file. Now I don't know if I have to create an account, but we'll find out. Yeah, let's download MongoDB Enterprise. Mongo Download Center. This looks like it'd be promising. And it pretty much is where we were previously. So if you look, we had some nice resources here. NoSQL Database Explained. Maybe we'll open that up later. Let's jump back into our textbook here. Well, let's see if we look for that, what we find. Install it for Windows MongoDB manual. See, install this on Windows using MSI, etc. for Windows. So, follow these steps to install MongoDB Community Edition. Alright, so it says download MD Community MSI installer from the following link. And notice here this is docs.mongodb.com, so I'm going to trust it. Select our OS. I want Windows 64. There's the current version. There's MSI. And I'm going to click download. Okay, which looks like it's bringing it up there. And when I get done, I'm going to open the file, click through the defaults. Then I'm going to go over the C drive, create a new folder called Data, and within it a folder called DB. Alright, we'll also check our path when we do all that. Open when done. Looks like it's almost finished. There we go. Run. Next. Accept the terms. Next. Let's just do the complete. Run service as a network server. Run as a domain server. I think we want network server. Program files. That looks good. You can probably tell by looking, I have not done this before, so let's see how it works. It's going to ask me for permission. Yes, I gave it. Okay, it's telling me that it looks like I've got some stuff open here. So let's close the applications and attempt to restart them. This may end up closing Camtasia, and if it does, I'm kind of hosed. So the setup is enabled to automatically close all requested applications. Please make sure these applications are holding files in use are closed before continuing. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to close right now. I'm going to close Camtasia before I click OK. So let me click stop here, and we'll pick it up in the next lesson.